Alright, so it's wintertime, which means it's hockey season. And the Bruins have started up. About to shoot my second game tonight. I don't like to make these videos the first time around just because I gotta get used to the COVID protocols and honestly just want to get back into shooting the sport and make sure that I'm not missing moments while I'm trying to get some behind the scenes clips. Tonight's the second game. Figure I'd give you guys a look behind the scenes. And I especially wanted to get back into it because hockey is a sport that I didn't grow up playing or watching on TV really. And that's just, there wasn't much hockey around me in Pennsylvania growing up. So I didn't know much about the sport until I moved to New England. And now I honestly love shooting it and it's pretty fun to watch. A lot of fast action, a lot of change of direction. Things can happen in an instant, which makes it pretty tough to photograph. Because you're trying to follow the puck, you're trying to anticipate the next play that's gonna happen. And there's so many guys on the ice flying around that it's tough if you're shooting ice level to get the play sometimes because there's gonna be people in your way. And you also have to be careful if you're shooting down ice level, shooting through the cutout, that the puck's not gonna come through and hit you, that you're not gonna get your gear broken. You definitely don't wanna stick your camera lens through the cutout and hit a player or anything like that. So you have to really be aware of everything that's going on, and it's going on so quick that it's hard to stay focused and make sure you're getting photos, switching cameras, leaning back, making sure you're not getting hit or hitting anyone. So get ready for the game. I do my charging the batteries, code replacements, clear my cards, set the time on my cameras, and fill out my form saying I don't have COVID, I haven't been in contact with anyone that's had COVID, and get ready for the game. So this year due to COVID, I'm not guaranteed a spot shooting from ice level through one of the cutouts, just because they've limited the positions just for safety. So I sort of have to pack as if I'm gonna be shooting through a cutout on ice level, or if I'm shooting up in the stands sort of overhead. And that requires two different sets of lenses and basically means I have to just pack more stuff. So when I'm shooting ice level, I typically like to have some really wide angle like a fisheye, and also just my zoom 7200 24-105, because I want to be able to zoom quickly in and out because the guys come down the ice really quick and you don't have as much time to switch your cameras. Now if I'm shooting overhead, I'm essentially the same distance from the ice no matter where the players are. Changes a little bit, but essentially I can use my 400 and get a pretty good clean shot of anywhere on the ice. And I also have a 70-200 on my other camera body and a wide angle just for sort of pre-game or if I'm trying to do something fun or get a wide view of the stadium. Now shooting up high is kind of nice because there's not as many people to sort of get in your way when you're shooting. You can sort of be over top a little bit and you kind of get any play that happens, but the images don't look as good, to be honest. They just, every image kind of looks the same. It's from the exact same angle. When you're shooting ice level, you do have more chances to be blocked by other people, but I personally feel that the images look a little bit better. Now you can see the gear I'm bringing to my game: computer, card readers, backup card readers, all my blank cards, extra batteries, got my 1DX Mark II, 16-35, fisheye, 8-15, 70-200 on my 5D Mark III, got my 7D Mark II, got my 24-105. Alright, so just parked here at TD. Nice easy parking today. Gonna take the elevator up, get my press pass, do the health screen, go through security, have a little bit something to eat, and go to my seat, get set up. Alright, see you there. So I'll check in, make sure I know where my shooting position is. So today it'll be up in the stands again, so I head up there, make sure I have a good view of the ice. This night I actually have a little bit of an obstruction in terms of the net, so I email and ask to move my position to another section, which they said is fine as long as I'm not near any other photographers. And so I moved my gear over to the other section. And that's something you shouldn't be afraid to just sort of ask, like, hey, like I have an obstruction, can I move to somewhere else? They know you're there to do a job. They don't want to put you in a place where you're not going to be able to get photos. So they're typically pretty accommodating as long as you're not interrupting anything else. Then I'll actually just leave my stuff in my photo position and go have a quick dinner. Then I'll head back up, put my gear together, make sure I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, make sure everything's working on my computer, test out a couple images, make sure they're looking okay coming from the camera to the computer, and then testing my connection to be able to send the images out. All before the game starts, take a couple images during warm-ups. Now during the game when I'm shooting up high, I typically use my 400 90% of the time. I do have my 70 to 200 on my 7D Mark II, which is a crop body, so it's more of like 100 to 300-ish lens, which is really nice. It's a great setup to have for sports photography. Pretty fast shutter, and you get a good range there. So if I need a little bit wider view, I'll switch to that 70 to 200 and use that to sort of get a wider view of plays. And then I also have my 16 to 35 on the 5D Mark III, and I'll just use that to get a general sort of feel of the arena with no one there and just sort of atmosphere shots. Now sometimes during the second period or maybe beginning of the third period, I'll actually switch the 400 onto my 7D Mark II, which converts it into a 640 lens, so it's very zoomed in, and honestly too zoomed in for hockey most of the time, because in hockey, because the puck's on the ground, just like with soccer or something, you typically want a full body shot of the player because you want the puck and the player's heads in the photo. Now with like basketball or football, even if they're carrying the ball up here or shooting the ball, right, you can be cropped in really tight and still have a good photo. Hockey, soccer, things like that, if you just have their heads, sometimes you can get a good photo if it's like two guys like, you know, jostling with each other. Otherwise, if you don't have the puck or the ball, it's not gonna be as great of a photo. So I put it on there just to, you know, see what I can get some close-ups of players and maybe the coaches on the bench since I'm so far away. So I only do that for like 5 or 10 minutes. So after the first period, I'll send in about 10 images or so, any goals, celebrations, and just, you know, pictures of both teams fighting for the puck. So that can just be used to sort of tell the story that these are the two teams that are playing. And then essentially repeat second and third period. If the game gets out of hand, sometimes I'll try some like slow shutter pans, things like that, where if I miss a goal, it's okay because I've already gotten a couple earlier and it's not gonna actually be the game determining goal. So if it gets closer, I'll make sure that I switch back and I'm doing regular photos. But, you know, if it's 4-1, I have a little bit of time, I can do some more creative photos if I want to. And I only do those for about, you know, 3 to 5 minutes, so I don't miss anything else that's big. And I also have my other camera body ready to go with the regular settings, so that way if there is a goal scored, I can switch really quick and still get the celebration and the reaction. And then after third period, I'll send in the rest of my images. I send about 30 throughout the whole game and pack up, head home. Just finished here at TD and heading back to the car. Packed up my stuff, ready to go. All right, just got back to the car. It's about 10 o'clock. Been there for about 4.5 hours. Pretty good game. 4-1 Bruins, some good action, good goals, some good hits, and yeah, got my 30-ish images up, ready to go home, get some sleep. Alright, so I hope that was a good look for you behind the scenes to the Bruins and see how I photograph the game a little bit. Even though I'm not a big, huge hockey fan or, you know, not incredibly knowledgeable about hockey, I had no idea what offsides or the blue line, red line, things like that were before I really moved to New England. But I do now, and it's a great game. Love shooting it, lots of great action, and lots of great emotion. Alright, see you next time.